We are in colonial New York, year 1775. British troops are currently patrolling New York. Due to past discrepancies, we are using this Congress to settle issues presented. The five factions being the Loyalists, Indeterminates, Patriots, women, and slaves. The goal of all is to have control of New York. Welcome to the game.
My name is Melanie Stein, and I played the Loyalist merchant, Mr. James Jauncey.
My main goal as a Loyalist was to get in control of the New York colony. That included denying the association so that it would not pass, and then getting the New York Army established but not attacking the British.
Parliament has a right to tax, and you respond with debt.
I had been getting away with smuggling tea for the first, I think, 4 game sessions, and then finally, I believe the game master got some people to thoroughly check through my bags, and finally one of the characters, a woman, found my tea in my planner, and it was pretty embarrassing because everyone was like, "Oh, how dare you," and like this and that, and I felt kind of like it was a personal insult, but I was required to do that for the game, and ultimately it was just funny.
To simply spite the country that protects, supports, and favors its colonies and our welfare. I say no.
I didn't expect to get so personally invested in the game. I'm not a very competitive person, but I became extremely competitive in the game because I am now one of 2 Loyalists in the entire class. So I take a personal, stab, not really offensively, but I really want to win.
My name is Ashley Childs. I was Mr. James Delancey until the first game meeting, and then I was killed, and I became a Cacheta, an Indian ambassador.
Mobs will run rampant through the streets, causing mayhem to all in its path. So I propose a solution.
Actually, I really enjoyed the game. When I found out that this class was going to be a role-playing game, I got pretty excited because I'm like a role-playing person. I like Dungeons and Dragons and all kinds of video games like that. So to be able to get into history, which is one of my favorite subjects, and to become a character in history is a really, really cool concept that I think that a lot of classes should do now.
I rolled a 1, and that means that the victim has been killed by the mob, and that the mob wins. That means you get a new role description, Mr. Delancey. You are no longer Mr. Delancey.
Oh my God.
To be killed in general sucks. To be killed on the first game session is even worse. It's funny now looking back at it, but it was really hard because I put a lot of time and effort into my character and who I thought that I was, and I embodied the character, and then all of a sudden to be killed and then be like, hey, now you're somebody new, congratulations, you're an Indian. It's kind of hard, but it's fun. It was really challenging in a good way to be able to be somebody else.
They bring death and plague to all in their path. They have killed many of my livestock that once fed my family.
It's really hard as an Indian to figure out what's going on. Right now, all my land's being taken, so it's kind of my role in the game to just try to get my land back from either side. And it's kind of hard right now knowing which side's going to help me because I've heard from both Patriot and Loyalist, so I'm kind of still up in the fence on who's going to help me. But whoever does end up helping me win back my land, I'm more than willing to offer my troops up to.
My name is Kira Culp. I play Margaret de la Montagne, and I am a woman who owns the tavern.
It's really weird not being able to vote because I felt like I couldn't do anything, and it was really frustrating because I felt like I was sitting there doing nothing the entire time. And then so I decided to agree with the Patriots to kind of support them if they had any mobs that we were supposed to do. And so they ended up voting for me to get my voting rights. And after I was able to vote, I agreed to send my son into the military. And after all of that, it was amazing because I finally got to really felt like I was more integrated into the game.
So are we going to leave voting based on gender? Or are we going to let women also vote? because we are essential to this colony staying together.
Personally, at first I was really confused as to what was going on, and I wasn't sure how everything was going to play out, but as we got into the game, it got a lot more passionate as everyone else was getting into the game, and I felt that I could really get into it and try to write speeches, and it was so much fun, while at the same time it didn't feel like class at all.
My name is Lakeith Brown, and I play Alexander McDougal, and I'm a part of the Patriot faction. Jeopardize the need to protect the well-being of our American colonists. Reconciliation is not the problem. The well-being of our people is. Okay, first of all, I'm not the type of person that would kill someone, but due to the game and the person that I was playing, it was definitely something that I felt didn't have to be done, but due to the circumstances for what we're fighting for and for what we had to do, that had to be done, but at the same time I didn't want it to be. However, it is all the distinctions of being divided against itself. The structure may amuse the ear, but it will not inform the mind. It was something that taught me that your words definitely do have power, and it definitely helped me become a better speaker and just understanding what people went through during that time period. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience.
My name is Danielle Walls, and I play Patriot faction leader Robert Livingston.
Maybe you can discuss a deal of interest.
Being the leader of the Provincial Congress was kind of liberating because I got to pick and choose who could speak and who could not, and sometimes I could manipulate people to believe that I was being fair and yet give my faction the unfair advantage over everyone else.
Congress every single time we meet, and yet they do not vote. So I believe this is greed on your part.
I felt kind of like I was being undermined when Mr. Kyler was allowed to lead the Provincial Congress because I had been fair, in a way, to everyone else. So when I was voted out of leadership for Congress, I kind of felt like I had failed who Mr. Livingston really was. I really should have taken a history class this semester because this class has totally prepared me for any American history I will ever go into because I have done so much more research than I have ever done in my entire life.
My name is Tori Edwards, and I play Loyalist Mr. Frederick Phillips.
William Franklin explains two roads, one evidently leading to peace, happiness and restoration of the public, tranquility, and the other inevitably conducting you to anarchy.
I had secret deals, but not secret objectives. I think that my character, he was pretty straightforward. I did try to side with some people who I wouldn't typically, maybe the slaves. I was against freeing the slaves, but yeah, I still tried to get them on my side in order to get them to do what I needed them to do.
Will revolution continue to be suggested as a solution even after we give the loyalists what they want?
I think the game was both a blessing and a curse because on one hand, people did get really into it, which is a good thing. People took it seriously, but at the same time, it's like some people took it too seriously, and I felt like emotions got mixed in with the game, and that's just what it is. It's a game. So I didn't take anything personally. I just played my role. I know I came off as a jerk sometimes, but that was just my role.
My name is Courtney Ferguson, and I played Prudence Holman.
Women have voting rights. Thank you.
My goals have always been price controls and having women to be able to vote. Price controls are a little bit harder than having the women to vote because I myself can't vote.
Price controls will slow inflation, maintain affordability, and lessen the debt for most families. With Livingston, McDougal, and Sears willing to pay for the Army, it reduces our taxes.
The game is fun, but it's different at the same time because it gets intense. It's really cool.
My name is Heather Wilson. I played the landless laborer George Hughes.
How many pairs are constructed so my wages remain the same, and my employer retains all the benefits. If labor gives man a right to property, as Locke states, then where is mine?
In one of our game sessions, me and Amanda tried to make a deal with Philipsy, who is a character that owns 200,000 acres of land. Philipsy offered a deal to us instead of the one we offered him, which was that he would give us 50 acres of land and a job in exchange for becoming a loyalist. And I immediately said no to the deal. But then he called Amanda over to make this and offered the same deal to her. And I realized as the class went on that she had been spending way too much time over there if he had rejected the deal. And when I left the game session and I still didn't have my land and I thought that she did, I was so mad. I was driving home in my car and I was plotting all these details of what I was going to make my next speech about, and I was going to be really confrontational and really angry, but I ended up being like very neutral because I wanted people to get my land because I really wanted that, because I felt like as the game went on I almost felt like my character was like my child, and I was responsible for getting him the things that he needed.
My name is Charlie, and I was part of the Patriot faction, where I played Abraham Brasher.
We all elected for Livingston to lead our Congress in the beginning. Why change now?
Me and Abraham, pretty close. Abraham believes in hard work and like building up to what you want to be in life, and that's what I believe in. But he also like doesn't believe in equal rights for women or like black people having freedom and everything, so obviously that's not me.
I think this game like exposed me and everybody else to a lot more of like the perspectives of everybody who were like living in that time, because I never thought about the fights that they had in between them. Like, it was never anything that went through my mind, so it was really cool to think about.
My name is Victoria Pelly, and I played the moderate indeterminate Thomas Treadwell.
Well, I was kind of surprised at first because I wasn't actually presented with any cases, and so I was kind of confused about how I wasn't doing my job. But now that it was, I think Livingston actually did make a better judge than I did.
I must therefore agree with the Loyalists to be governed by Great Britain for the time being. Thank you.
I thought that people did kind of take the game personally, and so it kind of got tense in the classroom a little bit, and that made me stress out some, but as a whole, it wasn't that bad.
My name is Carlin Howard, and I play Jeffrey Brown, a slave.
Playing a slave, it really puts you in perspective of what it was really like to be a slave and how passionately you really wanted to be free. And of course, freedom was my objective. I mean, that's really the only objective you would have.
I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my fellow slave, and we would like to serve in the New York military in exchange for freedom.
We've already missed one opportunity to obtain freedom, but I think in the end we'll figure out one way at least.
Okay. My name is Camille Anderson, and I play the moderate indeterminate John Palamas. I abstained from voting at that point in time because even though James Delancey died at the first session of the game, I wasn't too sure that maybe some of the people that he was in charge over, they could come after me for my debts if I voted for the association. So that's pretty much why I voted against it. I feel that it's time to stand up for what is truly right and make a stand with our fellow brethren in Philadelphia. It is time that we take and stand against the Great Britain, for this is why I will stand with the Patriots. It could have been better if James Delancey was alive throughout the game and didn't die during the first session, because in part of my role description, I was a land labor. I was a farmer who was in debt, a whole lot of debt, and so James Delancey could come after me and ask for my debt. So I didn't really have much to put forth with the game, but I just kept watching both sides to make sure that I'm making the right decision.
My name is Amanda Smith, and I played the character Isaac Dean, which was a landless laborer.
So part of my character's description was to basically accept any deal that I could with Mr. Philipse in regards to getting land, because my family was about to die and I was being in the military. There was no way for me to give them proper care. So in the end, my ultimate goal was not to hurt the Patriot faction whatsoever, and I didn't exactly become a loyalist, my true feelings still lied with the Patriots. It was a matter of fact of saving my family in regards to it.
So the land that is not currently, that you have, that people are not living on, you're not getting money for it.
Okay, but the thing is, if you're willing to pay.
My reaction to the game as a whole, I would say, was it was a fun experience. I'd never done a game like this, I guess, in a class before. Reacting to the past has really opened my eyes to a lot of new history. I got to learn about so many different ways of how to go about arguments and stuff like that.
My name is Shelby Strachan, and I play John Kyler Jr., the moderate indeterminate newspaper editor.
The leader of the Provincial Congress. Although it may seem that I have leanings to one faction over the other, I still have no strong alignment to any of the factions in our Congress.
Playing my role was really interesting because I had to make a newspaper, and it was interesting to make this newspaper because I had to remain neutral, and in the times of the Revolutionary War it was kind of hard to remain neutral, and I had to put myself in that mindset of remaining true to like being a journalist and running a newspaper so that I could represent both sides of the story.
My name is Kaylee McIntyre, and I play Patriot leader Isaac Sears.
Being in the Patriot faction was really, really fun. The only problem was eventually with the mobs, my faction couldn't mob without the consequences coming back on them. So halfway through the game, I broke away and became an independent Patriot faction. So I still had their ideals, but I was able to mob and vote the way I wanted to that would benefit not only me and my faction. So in the end, it actually helped us.
A lot of rights that we are promised as people, and they're treating us like children, and we're ready for more responsibility. Our mother country is completely abusing their power.
It was kind of surprising on the first game session. I was surprised that we killed Delancey, and not only just killed him, but we killed him with the first mob. What little people know, just the Patriot faction, is that that was actually an accident, and we didn't mean to kill him. We just wanted to threaten him to get him to stop trade with Britain. But we ended up killing him anyway, and it ended up working out in our favor. And then another thing that I really liked about the game is that with the modern indeterminates, you never knew what they were going to say or who they were going to be in favor of. And at the end, there was one girl that I really thought was going to be a loyalist, and she got up there and told us she was a patriot, and it actually swung the votes in our favor, and we won. So I really liked that aspect of it, that one vote could change your outcome. Patriots won.
Patriots won! America!
God bless America.
We won!
America!
My name is Ashley. What? I'm an Indian. What?